They working against us. They hate our souls. They hate us. They hate our righteous indignation. They hate the exhortation that dwells in us. They hate our love. They hate our conviction. They hate the fact that we repented. They hate the fact that we're truthful, honest, and bold. They hate our courage. Them devils hate us. We're not finna line ourselves up with these weirdos and freaks. With these weirdos and freaks. They working against us. They hate our souls. Weirdos and freaks. But these weirdos and freaks, they working against us. They hate our souls. Nubreed.
Ephesians 6:10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, and in the power of his might put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, and take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God. Praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints.
Undoubtedly, the one you call Jesus Christ was a black man. He was melanated. He had hair like wool. He had a deep voice. He was dark-skinned. He wasn't only just a black man. He was a dark-skinned man. He wasn't brown. He wasn't light-skinned. No, Christ was dark. We're talking about Wesley Snipes, dark. So let's make that clear. That's how he's described biblically. I don't know who this character is that they put up, but clearly the Most High God ain't happy with it. What my man Sizzler say? We serve no white God. I'm sorry, he's not white. Christian, I know that you have a hard time accepting this. You have a hard time understanding that Christ is the same image as your sons, as your uncles, as your father, as your grandfather, as the man that you dealt with. Yeah, he came in that same image. His lineage and bloodline is of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He comes through the lineage of David. He was a black man, all right? There's no doubt about it. In some extra biblical text, on record, on file. It even goes into race attributing to his crucifixion because of the things he was bringing to the world. They even say his race contributed to his crucifixion. Now, let's make that clear. And if you have a problem with that, if you have an issue with that, so be it. But make this clear. Regardless of what your nationality is, your color, kindred, or creed, if you choose not to remember Christ as the scriptures have said, that's on you. You have to take that up with the Lord. But you see how the Lord is dealing with false idols.
Are you children of Israel? We are the biblical Israelites. Let's shine our light on this entire world and let them know that we're not standing for these 2/3 and their evil intentions for us. And we're not falling for the tricks and the charades. It's time that we rise up, honor the law, statutes, and commandments written up in that Bible, and stay on the right direction. What's good, everybody? It's your brother Nubreed coming through with another live stream. Peace and blessings to the chat. I see a Hobba's in the building. A Sumperman is in the building. Star Child is in the house. Hey, what is going on? Ahava, Wanda Austin, Cynthia Hadley. Man, it's a blessing to have y'all for another broadcast. What's going on? I see Linwood in the building. Linwood Collins is in the house. What's going on, Ledge? All right, man. Peace and blessings to everybody joining. Baba Ronson. Shout out to Baba Ronson's in the building. Salute to the elder. Y'all make sure y'all support the elder. Man, listen. We got to talk about AOC. We got to talk about what she had to say in regards to the Charlie Kirk Memorial Day that it has been made official. And this was done on both sides. So this is a bipartisan agreement. The right and the left came to a unanimous decision that we're going to have a Charlie Kirk Day, which is October 14th. They're calling it something else, some honorary day for him, which is insane, ladies and gentlemen. They have buried him in a rotunda. And, you know, only about 50 people ever in United States history been memorialized in such a way. And it's only a few, right? Man, but we got to break this down because we know that the whole Charlie Kirk assassination has a lot of Masonic symbols connected to it. You know, they say they found the shooter the 33rd hour, and then they're burying him in the rotunda. And, you know, all of the ancient symbolism connected to all of that, right? So we know that it was a Masonic ritual that was conducted. A lot of y'all are already sharp with all of that, right? So, but that's not what this is about. That's not what this is about. We're going to talk about what AOC had to say. And as y'all enter the broadcast, make sure y'all hit the like button. And let's get to it, man. Let me go to what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had to say. That, by the way, that's what AOC is. This young lady right here, who happens to be a New York native.
And a green.
This New York native right here, she's pretty well respected within the Democratic side of things. This woman has the potential to be the next presidential candidate on the left. So she's pretty good in debates when it comes to certain individuals she's going against. Now, y'all know me. I don't really choose to pick one side or another. And I'm not saying that I'm trying to venerate this woman in any way or, you know, anything like that. But what she had to say right here is, you know, in my opinion, just downright true. And I'm gonna see if y'all believe the same thing, right? And yeah, she's from the Bronx. This is a Bronx native right here. And you know, a lot of the right-wing conservatives, they're afraid of this woman. They don't really want to debate her. Why? Because she has facts. You know, she goes to actual facts. She goes to what's really going on. So just to give you a brief rendition, rundown on who this woman is. That isn't this crazy? A New York number just called me out of nowhere. So as I talk about her being from New York, why I get a spam call? I don't know who this is from New York. I tell you, boy. I tell you. But nonetheless, that's crazy. It just happened just like that, right? But let's see what she had to say in regards to this Charlie Kirk Day thing, where they came. You know, first of all, before we get into it, I'm surprised that there was a unanimous bipartisan decision to have an honorary day for Charlie Kirk. I am surprised about that. The left, for the most part, has been pretty quiet. They've been pretty silent about everything. And the fact that, you know, she spoke out shows some levels of courage, because it seems like everybody is pretty much staying in line, you know, going with the status quo. But anyway, let's continue.
Green for his graciousness. Today, the Republican House majority brought to the floor a resolution honoring, quote, honoring the life and legacy of Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's assassination was a horrific and vile attack and incident of political violence. And condemning the depravity of Kirk's brutal murder is a straightforward matter, one that is especially important to help stabilize an increasingly unsafe and volatile political environment where everyday people feel more at risk. We can deeply disagree and come together as a country to denounce the horror of this killing. And it is not a license for the abuse of power and whitewashing of American history. Today's resolution only underscores the majority's recklessness by choosing to author this condemnation and honoring on a purely partisan basis, instead of uniting Congress in this tragedy with one of the many bipartisan options to condemn political violence and Kirk's murder, as we did with the late Melissa Hortman. Instead, the majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake, who after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant, and accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from the working, quote, working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution. It is equally important that Congress does unite to reject the government's attempt to weaponize this moment into an all-out assault on free speech across the country, all in the name of Charlie Kirk. President Trump and the FCC are now cynically threatening to shut down ABC and any outlets who give airtime to the administration's political critics. This is a disgusting attack on the American people and the very First Amendment rights that define us as a country. It is also the ABC Corporation's responsibility to refuse to embolden and participate in this corruption and escalation of censorship. We continue to pray for Mr. Kirk's family and loved ones in the wake of this terrible act. I am thinking especially of his children and his wife, whose grief cannot be measured. And with that, I yield back to the gentleman.
Now, of course, you got various media outlets, including mainstream media outlets such as Fox News. They're already saying that she smeared Charlie Kirk. And, you know, she's already getting a lot of pushback about what she said. But what she brung out, we have proof and evidence of these things being true. Now, they're trying to rewrite history, brothers and sisters. Some of you all may be wondering, why is a biblical channel really touching on these matters? Well, it's simply because, ladies and gentlemen, this is nothing new. They've always rewrote history. And our patriarchs have always spoken against it. And this will be no different, ladies and gentlemen. We cannot allow these people to continue to rewrite history without bringing out truth. Because what's a world without any truth? What's a country without any truth? Now, of course, you know, as far as AOC goes on some of the things that she believes, I'm not saying that we stand behind AOC and everything she believes. She also threw some interference when it came to reparation talk. You know, she's a politician, just like the rest of them. But that's not what we're going to hone in on today. What we're doing is really showing you what's being done, right? How these people don't care who it is. They're going to rewrite history at anyone's expense. And that's what I want to really put out there. Now, first, before we go to our next source, which would be Fox News, so you can show, so we can show how what they accused her of doing, and then we're gonna go to the facts, right? I want to read a scripture real quick. Jeremiah 23 and 25. And it reads, I have heard what the prophet said, that prophesy lies in my name, saying, I am, or I have dreamed. I have dreamed. How long shall this be in the heart of the prophets that prophesy lies? Yea, they are prophets of deceit of their own heart. See, that's false leaders rewriting truth, rewriting history, rewriting what is real, right? And from what it looks like is they're going to stop at no cost to spread these narratives, right? But I want to go to Fox News so you can see what they had to say in regards to her speech, and I want y'all to tell me what y'all think. Because Senate did declare October 4th as pretty much Charlie Kirk Day, right? Let me see.
Voted no on today's resolution, joining 57 other Democrats. She did condemn Kirk's assassination before using her speech to drag his legacy through the mud. Listen here.
Charlie Kirk's assassination was a horrific and vile attack. The majority proceeded with a resolution that brings great pain to the millions of Americans who endured segregation, Jim Crow, and the legacy of bigotry today. His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
Let's bring in David Avella, GOPAC chairman, and Michael LaRosa, Democrat strategist and former press secretary to Jill Biden. Thanks to both of you for being here. David, to you first, what is your reaction to what you just heard from her on the House floor?
Well, what the Congresswoman is suggesting, Sandra, is that no one should get a resolution before Congress that praises their life or certainly condemns their their death. It's unfortunate that she's chosen to make a political stand on the floor of the House when it's simply trying to honor someone who was killed in cold blood.
I mean, do you think there will be any condemnation from her colleagues, her Democrat colleagues on that, David?
Probably not the 56 that voted with her, and probably not even from the.
Now we need to see, did she actually smear Charlie Kirk? Because that's what the headline reads here. That's what the headline reads. And did she actually smear him when it comes to what Charlie Kirk said about the civil rights movement, right? I want to go to a source here to pretty much validate what was said from Kirk's own mouth, because that's the way that this has to be addressed, what he said. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this right now. The internet, they've been working overtime trying to pretty much scrub a lot of what Charlie Kirk said, because that's what you have to do when you rewrite history. They have been working overtime trying to scrub the internet. So while we still have this information, we're going to put it out there. And, you know, I see that I have a lot of dirty MAGA in the building, and, you know, it is what it is. But I'm just going over the facts here. And I'm not with the left or the right. But let's just go with facts, right? Charlie Kirk, the Civil Rights Act created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon. This is his own mouth.
How do we then best fight back?
Oh, my bad.
And withstand the criticism where they're going to say this is just a white lash, or this is just you being a white nationalist?
Right. Well, I mean, the simple answer to the white nationalist question is I'm not. You know, I'd tell them if I were, right? But I'm just not. So that's really easy. I mean, there should be a backlash against the fact that they're being racist, because that's good. I mean, you shouldn't be able to be racist on without accountability. So I don't have any problem with that. But I think there's lots of different tactics, whether it's lawfare, whether it's and kind of a creation, I think, over time of kind of we need to really relook at how we've enforced civil rights laws. And again, I'm not saying that because I think we need to relitigate the wisdom of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. It was put in at a particular time to solve.
Oh, I've criticized it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Caldwell's thing.
Yeah, I mean, and Chris Caldwell is a colleague of mine, and I think it's fine to do that. But I think just as a political strategy, I think if people want to say, hey, there were absolutely real problems that it was addressing, whether you think it did it in the perfect way or not. But we're as far from that time right now as they were from the Wright brothers. So there's a lot of things that have changed in American society. We're not worried about people not being served at lunch counters anymore.
Yeah, and the Civil Rights Act, though, let's be clear, created a beast, and that beast has now turned into an anti-white weapon.
Yeah.
He says the civil rights movement created a beast that has turned into an anti-white weapon. Ladies and gentlemen, how could our civil rights turn into an anti-white weapon? So not only did Charlie Kirk have podcasts and shows weekly about why we should have never had the civil rights movement, he took it a step further right here, and he said that the civil rights movement is an anti-white weapon. How is our freedom? How is our civil liberties and rights how is us not being considered 3/5 of a man? How is us having the right to vote, having the right to have equal rights, civil rights, to live civilly without anybody impeding on us physically and pretty much destroying our people? How is that an anti-white weapon? I mean, this is what Charlie Kirk said, that our civil rights is an anti-white weapon. Basically, we should have never got civil rights. That's what he said. You cannot change history. You can't do it. And see, this is what they're attempting to do. right? I'm telling you. And what does the scripture say about this? In Romans 1 and 18, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. That goes for those who deliberately hide or distort the truth. There's a lot of gainsayers out there who stand more to gain by deliberately hiding, ignoring the truth. So, you know, I just want to show y'all what's really happening here. And meanwhile, Kirk is being buried in the rotunda. And you got all of this Masonic symbolism going on, which we briefly touched on that. But I want y'all to see what's happening to freedom of speech. I want y'all to see what's happening with the truth right now and how it's being hidden. I want to go to another scripture here. In Luke 8 and 17, for nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. See, no matter how much men try to rewrite history, the truth will always eventually be exposed. It will. The lies don't last. The lies, the fabrication and the conjectures and everything that they put out there, it won't last. The truth will always sustain. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 11. Have a nation changed their gods, which are yet no gods? But my people have changed their glory for that which doeth not profit. See, ladies and gentlemen, the American heritage has been abandoned. And I'm talking about its true heritage. They're rewriting history, embracing falsehoods. But guess what? America's true heritage is violence. It's violence. It was founded on violence. I know that this term political violence has been highlighted. But look, and this is what they always did. All you got to do is watch movies like Gangs of New York. These people have always been in internal warfare with each other. It's always been high profile, white on white crime since the inception of America, especially under the cloak of white supremacy. They always turn in on each other. There's always wars going on with each other for what? For power. For power. This is their legacy. This is what they do. This is what they do. They turn the truth into a lie. This is what they're all about. The scripture's going to tell us in Psalms 83, verse 3 and 4. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no longer in remembrance. Now that's talking about our people. It's talking about the blacks, foundational Black Americans, Native Americans, and all of our people who was spread from North, South, Central America, all through the Caribbean, our people of Negroid descent. It's talking about how they would come together with crafty counsel, and that's what it's been. When you're looking at the full picture, you'll really understand it. See, what the left essentially did was they tried to destroy us through liberty, giving us the liberty and right to sin, because the left knows that our God would destroy us if we out of pocket. The left knows that if we out here living degenerate, then our own God would destroy us. So that's what the left would promote and push. But the right is like, you know what? They're not as degenerate as you think they are. So we got to engage them. So when you hear me talk about politics, left or right, I'm telling you, I'm going right down the middle with it. The left is like, listen, let's embolden them in sin and wickedness and perversions, and let's grandize that type of behavior. Let's pander to that, and let's create a society that, you know, almost incentivizes that behavior. And then the right is like, hey, we got to engage them all together. We got to create smear campaigns. We got to embolden our white nationalists and white supremacists. And that's how it is. That's how it is. Yep. Now, I want to go ahead and show you more what Fox News had to say. And we got to get into it. We got to get into it. And it's a reason why, well, first, let's go there for a minute, because they say that she smeared. They say that she smeared Charlie Kirk.
Those House Democrats who did vote for it, it's unfortunate, but you know, America will survive despite her hateful rhetoric.
All right. So as far as AOC, she went on the House floor. I'll play this out. Here's how she describes who she thinks Charlie Kirk was. Listen.
We should be clear about who Charlie Kirk was. A man who believed that the Civil Rights Act that granted Black Americans the right to vote was a mistake. Who, after the violent attack on Paul Pelosi, claimed that, quote, some amazing patriot, unquote, should bail out his brutal assailant. And accused Jews of controlling, quote, not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, it's all of it, unquote.
So, I mean, Michael, was this necessary? Why did she go this direction? And by the way, the dozens of Democrats that voted against the resolution to honor Charlie Kirk, 95 yes votes. This is the tally, okay? 38 present, 22 didn't vote. What?
So, you know, this was a unanimous decision from the left and the right. So, and that's a little bit concerning because you would have thought that the left would have been giving more pushback, but they seem to be in line with what appears to be some type of dictatorship that America is going into. I believe that the left is just going to, you know, give the country into the hands of the right because they believe it's more than likely more effective towards condemning and brutalizing God's people. Now, I'm going to tell y'all this. Listen, so y'all don't think I'm being negative about it because everything is going to reverse back on them. You know, everything that they're doing to come against God's chosen ones, everything is going to backfire. Everything that they got going on, you know, they're actually imploding. It already has started. They already have been cannibalizing each other. You got all these different hate groups that, you know, are tearing each other apart. I mean, all this beef going on. Groypers versus Turning Point. You got all kind of just different fractions that seem to be going against each other, all for supremacy. They all fighting for supremacy. So they're imploding. And, you know, it's working against them. Because meanwhile, crime is down in our cities, in highly concentrated areas where Black folks are, crime is actually going down, contrary to what popular belief is. Crime has gone down. That's why Trump didn't go into Chicago. He had no need for it. He reneged on going to Chicago because come to find out that the truth was being told by the mayors and governors there in Chicago. You know, so... You know, they just out here tearing each other apart. It's white on white crime. They're having a civil war for power. And we got to understand what's happening. All right, let's go.
What's going on here?
I don't know. I don't think she regrets it. I think this is how she feels. I think, unfortunately, it's probably a reflection of how broad.
We can't even call it a civil war because it's not civil. Charlie Kirk got hit in the neck by a bullet. That's not civil. So this is a a war. It's a violent war going on. It's a violent war. We can't even call it a civil war. Let's go.
Base of Democrats do feel about Mr. Kirk. I feel like that was a really insensitive time to do it, and somewhat unseemly to go to the House at this time to do that. There'll be plenty of time to, criticize his positions and debate his legacy later. But I frankly found it really insensitive and a really divisive way to sort of continue the sort of back and forth we're having and not bringing the temperature down, but bringing it up. I didn't think it was necessary at all.
Is it fair to say you regret the outcome of the vote? You regret the comments of AOC on that House floor. This is Hakeem Jeffries, by the way, leader in the Democrat Party. Before the vote, dodged when he was asked by our own Chad Pergram.
So we know why they all in agreement, because it's a concerted effort against God's people. See, we talk about the racism of the right all the time. The left is racist too. They just hide it. They all are racist, which disproves it. If they all made a unanimous decision to memorialize Charlie Kirk, this should prove that Democrat and Republicans are both suspected white supremacists at the end of the day. And we've always had those sentiments about them. You know what I mean? We're just happy that the right is in office because we get to see it overtly. The left is just better at hiding it. But when you look at some of the policies they passed, they were against our people too. They tried to weaponize our women against us. They not only that, if you look at Biden's history, Biden crime law, you look at the Clinton administration, that's where the whole term super predators came from. Like, these people all are on the side of white supremacy. All right. Just so it's understood, they all are on it. And yeah, let's get the likes up. They like to shadow ban my platform because I'm not going with the status quo. I'm going to actually take the time to educate y'all on what's really going on. I'm not going to pander to anyone. I am not going to pander to Democrats, Republicans. I'm not going to pander to MAGA, right? I'm not going to pander to MAGA to try to get support and views and all of that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stand on what's true. So it's up to you, the people, to actually support my material. All right. I know that a lot of people get caught up in viewership and actually believe that gives somebody's validity on what they're saying, but that's not the case. All right. So I want y'all to really, take in the information, but nonetheless, I'm telling y'all, the scriptures tell you exactly what these people are up to. It really does. It tells you in Psalms. Well, we read Psalms, but let me go back up here. Luke 11:52. Woe unto you, lawyers, for ye have taken away the key of knowledge. Ye entered not in yourselves, and them that were entering and ye hindering. So you got people feeding into lies that have us hindering as people. Let's read that one more time. Woe unto you, lawyers, for ye have taken away the key of knowledge. Ye enter not in yourselves, and them that were entering in ye hindered. See, that's taken away of knowledge, erasing, rewriting history to do what? Control people. It's all about control. They take away the truth. They take away the history. They take away the knowledge to what? Control you. To control you. Somebody says, and yes, let me see. Somebody says like the Cold War, right? Yeah, it's similar. Yep, somebody says, it's okay to be angry. It's understandable to be angry as long as hate doesn't consume you. There's no hate here. Right. Yeah, we don't look, all we do on this platform here is just bring the truth. We bring the real data. The other day, I went onto the FBI crime site. I went to the exoneration rates when it comes to Black of America. I went to literally show you who's committing the most crimes. And what we found based on crunching the numbers is astonishing to a lot of people. This is absolutely remarkable what we've discovered. Looking at the numbers. So when I tell y'all, man, this stuff is blowing up in their faces. It is. And they're not going to be able to successfully rewrite history. And I want to go to show you how they've officially made this Charlie Kirk Day thing a thing. They made it a thing. We're going to go to the news on that. Yeah, we're going to go there. How Congress is honoring Charlie Kirk.
This is happening while there is a partisan debate over Charlie Kirk's legacy. That said, both of these measures passed with strong bipartisan support.
House Resolution 719, resolution honoring the life and legacy of Charlie James Kirk.
In short order, and with no debate, the House easily passed a resolution to remember the life of Charlie Kirk and condemn political violence. 95 Democrats joined 310 Republicans to pass the proposal just 9 days after Kirk was shot and killed in Utah. 7 of Arizona's 8 members of Congress voted yes, with Republican Congressman Eli Crane listed as not voting, according to the House clerk.
Charlie was a good man, a devout husband, father, and friend.
Florida Senator Rick Scott led the passage of a separate bill to honor Kirk's life and work. The upper chamber unanimously passed a National Day of Remembrance for the conservative activist, podcaster, and author. The measure encourages schools, civic groups, and the public to remember Kirk on October 14th, which would have been his 32nd birthday. And the passage of both of these proposals comes just...
You know the irony of that? We have Kirk himself saying something very interesting about Black people having a holiday to themselves. That's what's very interesting when he spoke in regards of Juneteenth, that we shouldn't have a holiday. Charlie Kirk said that. Let me see. I think I have it right here. So people can't say spreading misinformation or false information. Is this one it right here? That he doesn't believe that we should have a day to celebrate our freedom. Charlie Kirk said that, but he's been honored with the day. We're talking about a man who has done nothing but make excuses for why white cops should be able to, legitimately off our people. Tried to get Derek Chauvin off, this kind of stuff. I think is this it right here?
We offend Mexico. You guys are a poor, small country.
No, I thought I had it on standby, but I think I missed that part. Sorry about that. We'll pull that up. But he said it. He said we shouldn't have a day. But anyway, let's go.
Days before there is a memorial scheduled for State Farm Stadium in the West Valley in honor of Charlie Kirk. In the newsroom, Dennis Welch, Arizona's Family.
Students at Utah Valley.
So, it's a lot of hypocrisy. It's a lot of hypocrisy. Yeah, and the irony of this is interesting because odd enough, George Floyd and Charlie Kirk are born the same day. They have the same birthday, y'all, there's something to that. There's something to that. I don't believe in coincidences. Could it be some satanic Masonic ritual that they had going on to represent the black and the white, the checkerboard? It could have been. Look, I don't know, man. Everything that the media shows has its agendas. It has its agendas, right? Yep. But y'all know what it is, man. I'm not going to speak on this topic too long. I just wanted to come through and just show y'all what's going on in the news. I'll be back with more material. So make sure y'all like, comment, share, subscribe. If you want to sponsor the show, you know where to sponsor it. NewbreedGlobalTruth.com. And, you know, we'll talk more about this topic, you know, on a later time, but we got more coming. Definitely. So y'all be blessed out there. With that being said, shalom, peace.